Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, one and all. It is myself, Lee, and joining me today is Rob. And have we got a show for you?
Oh boy, I've been up because I went for an old man wee at 3:30 this morning. I've been up since 3:30 this morning, unable to sleep.
Just
Giddy with
fucking
excitement.
plugged into the news sphere.
Mate, fucking like I've
Just
got my tech files working away. Kerry, my savant, he's like giving me data, plugging me in. It's pretty hardcore at the moment.
well, before we get into what we're talking to about today, quick shout out to all our sponsors. So at Sacros Mundus, if you need any awesome terrain, whatever size it is, go check them out on Cults 3D, My Mini Factory, or their Patreon. They got loads of awesome stuff for you and your new gaming table that you might be making for third edition. Check out Curtain Games, .co.uk, at Curtain Games on Instagram and Curtain Games Facebook if you want some awesome customer service and maybe get some pre-orders in for third edition.
Yeah, I need 4 boxes already for clients and myself, so we're tapping them up.
And shout out to Beowulf, www.beowulfminiatures.com, at Beowulf_miniature_printing on Instagram, and Beowulf Miniatures Printing on Facebook. If you really don't like the new Terminators and you want some other ones printed, I've seen a lot of Saturnine third-party Terminators getting whacked out at the minute.
Yeah.
In fact, I saw a picture the other day of the new Saturnine Dread that someone has already
Yeah,
created.
sculpted. Yeah, it's nuts,
Like,
isn't it?
it's
Yeah.
fucking insane, isn't
Yeah.
it? So go check out Beowulf. But what are we talking about today? Obviously,
Well, just to say, just before we get started, so we did have a show planned, and that show was
yes.
basically Kerry had spent hours and hours
And then we
what to prep before the new edition comes, and then basically it was quite clear to me and Lee at 4 o'clock this morning, when we were messaging, basically being like, okay, well, whatever we have planned basically has to go in the bin for today because there's lots of leaks, isn't there? There's been leaks, bloody central.
Yes,
You
it
need a
was
plumber to
always
sort
going to
out these leaks.
happen, wasn't it? I
Yeah.
was like, if you haven't been up to date with the news, I think you put a post out a few days ago, a week ago maybe,
Yeah,
that
like
someone was
Thursday,
selling
Wednesday, Thursday.
the new boxes on eBay. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, it's only a matter of time
Yeah.
before someone takes pictures or photocopies those books and they're
Yeah.
out on the internet.
Yeah.
And essentially, that's what's happened. We're not going to go through the rules. We're going to talk about some of the stuff. Like, we're going to talk about, I mean, we have literally, I mean, I've hardly looked at it. Rob's obviously read it a bit more, but I mean, I guess this is a slight spoilers. If you want to keep it all a fucking secret until
Yeah. Switch
it's
off.
released,
Switch
then
off now.
probably don't watch this. But what what I will say is we are speculating. Even though the rule book's leaked, there's no signs of the Libras
Yeah, and only part of the rulebook as well. Only like
and only
34
part of the rule
pages.
book.
Like it's
Yeah.
not like we have the whole thing in our hands. So
So people will be losing their minds over stuff, and actually, we still don't have the full picture. We still don't know what the levers are bringing. So this is still speculating. We're still just kind of second guessing things. But then we'll talk a little bit about how we prepare for the new edition. But before we get into that, it's my fucking birthday.
many happy returns to you. What
Thank
age
you
are
very
you?
much. I am 44 years old today.
44 years.
44 years
I
old.
didn't realize there was quite such an age gap between us.
Yeah, well, you know, it's because I'm so young at heart.
Clearly.
It was my eldest birthday 2 days ago. His is on the 9th.
Right.
And so I've got a 10-year-old child. I'm 44 years old. And I was thinking this morning, like, I'm 44 years old. I was in work last night drawing dick pictures on someone's helmet. I was like, at what point do you grow up
Never.
and stop doing
and then
this
the
shit?
first thing, as soon as you finish work, you're coming to talk about toy soldiers.
Toy soldiers. So yeah.
that's
But
it.
yeah,
Never-
happy birthday to
young,
me.
young at heart. Yeah, many
And
happy
yeah,
returns.
Izza got me tickets for us to go watch Jason Manford
Oh yeah.
in
Yep.
Cambridge.
Oh,
So
that's pretty
yeah,
all right.
that's pretty
That's
cool.
pretty decent. Yeah.
Yeah. We just have to find someone to look after the kids or
Yeah. Fair play.
lock them in the shed again. But I joke. I don't. Yeah, cool. Right, let's get into it then.
Yes.
So first up, a new Force Org. Now this is something that I think have Games Workshop. Did
No.
they
So
put? They
this is
haven't put
coming.
anything out about
This is
this.
coming later today. So we will probably
Oh,
get this uploaded
interesting.
around
Right.
lunchtime,
Okay.
and then they're going to hit us with the article, and then we're going to be running a little bit behind because the thing is, the article might say, "Oh, also, if you take this awesome Blood Angels character, it gives you new
Yeah.
Force Org chart." So we are going to run a couple of hours behind on this one.
Right.
So yeah, so we'll probably do an update at some point later in the week.
And I will say at this point, I do actually feel sorry for
Yeah.
the GW team. Like they have been fucked over by leaks, and we're probably just to blame because we're talking about it. But like we can't really not talk about it. It's
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
Like the rules have been leaked. But I do actually genuinely feel a bit sorry for them at this point. They've got fucked over left, right, and centre.
Yeah, I would have thought as well. They would probably say to their influencers now who've got the box or are getting the box or whatever stage that is, look, let's not wait till pre-order day. Like, you might as well
Start talking about the
start
rules.
talking about it and start
Yeah,
doing some content about it
interesting.
because otherwise, chumps like Heresy Hammer are going to get a head start on you
Yeah, and you're
guys,
gonna miss the boat.
and you're going to miss the
Yeah.
boat. So I think, yeah, so it'll be good from like to see people like SN create content who are more knowledgeable because like those videos will, because they'll have all the books in their hands ready to rock and roll, and then we'll just
Yeah.
like copy and paste whatever they said into our own videos. That's what we'll.
Yeah. Anyways, I feel sorry for them. However, so this was one thing that there's been a lot of talk about.
Yeah.
People knew there was a change coming. People were worried. There was talks of like formations, like we had in seventh edition. I think it was sixth, seventh. I think it was seventh.
Seventh, yeah.
But it's here. So essentially, you have to take a you have to take this. I don't know what they call it.
A
This
detachment. This
detachment.
is a primary.
Yeah.
This is the primary detachment.
So you have to take this primary detachment. The primary detachment consists of a high command, 3 command units, 4
troops, isn't it?
troops choices, and 4 transport
Now, it's
options.
the first thing to say. It's really interesting. Number one, that there is like a high command like unit, but also that units don't seem to just buy as part of their war gear a dedicated transport now. It seems that actually you need the slots to be able to put things in, and you can fill those slots up. So yeah, so that's a little bit of a change, and obviously that will probably change on the I want to say the data slates, the data sheets for these things like that. So, that's
So
interesting.
you have to take a primary detachment, but you can only take one of these detachments, and you can fill it out, or you can only choose one slot. It's entirely up to you. You could take a command slot, and that's it, or you could take a high command slot, and that's it, or you could just take 4 troop choices, and that's it. So you're not restricted how we were previously. In all the previous editions where you had to take 1 HQ and you had to take 2 troops choices in your primary detachment. So off the bat, I'm going to say I like that. I like the
I like it.
flexibility.
I like
We
it a
don't
lot.
know how that'll work. You might end up being like, well, actually, I have to take troops choices because otherwise I've got nothing scoring.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, we're only running with half information here. But this
Yeah.
is how it is. And then your high command choice, if you so choose to take one, which will be like a Praetor. I'm guessing it will be
I would imagine,
Praetor
yeah. So
level.
what is the old Master of the Legion rule? I would imagine that would probably
Yes.
transfer over
Yeah,
to
yeah,
High
yeah.
Command now. Yeah.
And then if you take that option, you can take either an apex detachment or an auxiliary detachment. You can't take both. You can take one or the other. And then basically these just open up other detachments. So your apex detachments is either combat retinue, which is command squads, officer cadre, which is you can take 2 more commanders, or army vanguard, which allows you to take 3 elites.
3 elites, yeah.
And I think it was 3 command squads or 2, 3. I
Yeah,
can't
3
remember.
command squads. Yeah, which is a bit juicy, isn't it? If they still got their
Yeah,
flags
yeah.
and maybe still have line or something like that, then that would be good. Just to say as well, on the leaked rules today. So there was line X, and basically, so if the example it gave in that is that if your unit has line 3, and it stands on objective, it will gain 4 victory points. So one just for
Oh
being on the objective,
shit!
and then 3 for
Oh, I
being line
didn't
3.
see that.
Um,
So
and
that's
so
where your
yeah,
troop choices are
and
coming in,
that's
isn't
where it's
it?
going to matter. But
That's
that
yeah.
also suggests that maybe perhaps like all infantry
Scoring's
or everything is scoring, but you
mm.
need line to be able to bump those numbers up beyond your opponent to be able to get more points than your opponent.
And it also makes me think that scoring's going to be a lot higher.
Yeah, oh
Like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Or so if you take a high command, I said you can take an apex detachment or an auxiliary detachment. Or if you take one of the command choices, which is going to be your centurion level, we think,
Yeah.
you can unlock an auxiliary detachment, which is then armored fist, which is all transport. So it's
Yeah. So it had 4 kind of like what I would describe as like rhino transports, and then
yeah,
4 heavy transports. And the picture they had was a picture of the Spartan.
Spartan,
I can't think
yeah.
of many more transports beyond there. I mean, like,
That'd be
which one
like
would a
Land
Charybdis?
Raider.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, would a
yeah, yeah,
Charybdis fall under that as well?
yeah.
Not sure. So yeah, and they called it armored fist, which is interesting. I guess like similar to armored breakthrough that we had in the
Yes.
previous edition. So that was really interesting. That one.
And then you had tactical support, which I would presume is like your heavy support squads. It looked like a picture of a rapier.
Yeah, I think it was. I'd imagine this one is going to be quite squeezed slots because I think it was only 2. I'll have to double check, but I think it's only 2 slots and then 2 transports. Um,
But it,
and whether like your plasma guns, your melter guns are going to go in there, whether your apothecaries are going to go in there, whether your tech marines are going to go in there. We'll talk about tech marines
yes.
a little bit later, but it seems to me that that could be quite a squeezed slot, and as a result. And we'll talk like particularly tech marines and apothecaries a little bit later. It does seem that you're going to have to take, and I'm still committed to this. I think you're going to have to take more HQs than usual to unlock than you would in normal Horus Heresy to
Yeah,
take these
yeah.
take more of these.
And then one of the auxiliary detachments was armored support, so that looks like your predators and your Kratos,
Yeah, it kind of
Sicarans.
it didn't say anything specific. It was fairly broad. It just kind of said the tanks with the most amount of firepower. So I assumed it would be it.
I mean, the
It had a picture of a
picture is
pred,
a predator,
but
isn't
I
it?
assumed
Yeah.
that Kratos and Sicarans would be included within that.
Yes. And then heavy support, which we're guessing is War Machine's dreads. I think again the
Yeah.
picture is a dreadnought, but it's just a single dreadnought.
Yeah, so this is, I think, which is going to be really interesting. And so I suppose that they could have balanced dreadnoughts in a number of ways. The first one is that they increase the points or reduce, say, weapon skill and ballistic skill, something like that. Or
Yeah.
alternatively, they might have just kept it the same and they just go, you know what? It's just talons of one now. You can't have more than one in a
This is the
talon.
thing, isn't it? We don't know. Yeah.
And
So a
actually,
detachment could,
if you want to take more dreads, you're going to have to take more
yeah.
command slots in order to unlock those dreads. So I wonder whether that's a way to balance it, which is you're paying a command tax in order to take
Yeah.
a dreadnought. I think that would be quite nice, but
I
I
kind of
mean, yeah,
I hope so, because I mean dreadnoughts in the books are kind of like these revered
yeah,
heroes that are
yeah,
entombed in these
yeah,
these ancient war machines. And then what we've had in second edition is like armies of fucking dreadnoughts moving. You know what I mean?
yeah. I know
Like,
exactly what you
so
mean. Yeah,
to make it a bit more restricted, I like the idea of that. I think it's quite a nice idea if that's what they've done. Like I say, we haven't seen the Liber, so we don't know. You might be able to take Talons are free, so one detachment could potentially unlock free dreadnoughts. It could unlock free Leviathans.
yeah. Be
We
interesting to
don't
see.
know, but I hope not. I hope it is just you get one.
Yeah. The other, just to go back to this, and what makes me think that it's just one, is that in the armored support slots, it's 4 pictures of predators.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
like to me, that suggests that
Just one tank each.
it's like it's for a tank each. Like
Yeah.
not one slot unlocks, say, like 20 predators, right? You know,
Yes.
or like 12 predators. That almost seems nonsensical to me. And I would have thought that things are, yeah, but in that case, in single squadrons, and I think that deals with some of the clunky stuff of the squadron.
Could
Like you could
you
just shoot through it.
take predators in squadron? Not predators. Fucking where's my
Kratos.
books? Spartans. Could you take?
No, no, Land
No.
Raiders
So
you
that
could.
was
Land Raiders you could. Yeah. Well, I think so.
okay.
I don't know. Maybe. I never saw them in.
No, that's the trouble. You just they was too fucking expensive, weren't they?
Yeah. Anyway, just while Lee looked that up, so we also had combat pioneers. So this was described as the light infantry. So I'd imagine scout squads,
Yeah.
recon squads. Whether seekers will go in here, I'm not quite sure.
Ooh, I would guess
Um,
so. Yeah,
yeah, you
but
would have thought so,
yeah,
but they might
yeah,
also go in first strike. And it was interesting with the combat pioneers that there was only two slots in this one. And again, I think this is going to be really interesting, which is that, like, if you take, say, a vigilator, will that unlock a combat pioneer detachment for free? Like, you just like you
yeah,
take a
yeah,
vigilator,
yeah,
you just get it for free. It's a freebie one, and that's the kind of thing that adds flavor at the force organization, and where the centurion and consuls merge. Whether that will be the case, I think that would be quite
Mm.
cool. Sorry, yeah. Do you want to go on to shock assault now?
So shock assault is your Terminators. We
Yeah,
think, we presume, like,
yeah.
mate.
Because it's
I
a
don't.
picture of a Terminator, so yeah,
I wonder whether Saturnine Terminators will fall into that. I would
yeah,
guess
yeah,
so,
yeah.
unless
I
they
would have
come
thought
under
so.
Elite. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, one of the things I would say is that it's interesting that the elites and what appears to be the Terminators have now been separated. So
Yes,
what
yeah,
will
yeah,
fall under
yeah.
elites? Will it just be veterans, or will there be? Will I always thought it was odd that like laser rapiers fell under elites. I always thought that it was odd that that was under
Yeah,
heavies.
yeah.
So yeah, that'll be an interesting one.
Um, and also, there's no kind of transports in that. So if you want
No,
to give your Terminators transports,
yeah,
it looks like you would have to unlock something like
the
Armored
armored
Fist.
fist. Yeah,
But again, we don't know. You might still have the option to take dedicated transports
yeah,
within that unit, but
unit.
it kind of looks like that's probably not going to be a thing
Yeah. So
going
even
forward.
just from that, right? You can kind of go, okay, well, I want to take a transport for my Terminators. I'm now going to to have a minimum of two commanders plus like a
Yeah.
praetor or whatever in my army list, right? So already
Mm.
you're kind of like, oh, we're getting to a point where I'm going to have to get quite a lot of commanders in order to unlock these
Mm.
things. Like
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
standard 2.0 army, I think once you start adding up and kind of going, well, I want a recon squad, I want a squad of javelins, I want a terminator squad, I want to, you actually like, oh, I've got now I've very quickly got to four centurions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I mean, we'll talk about the centurion more in a bit, but
Yeah, because I got a
effectively,
few things to say about that,
yeah.
but
But
yeah.
you kind of like, oh, I very quickly got to four console choices before I've even started. So
Mm. And then finally we have First Strike, which is fast attack units. So
yeah,
again, I think the picture is a
so javelin,
javelin.
yeah.
So yeah, that looks like your yeah. I wonder if well yeah, we've got the oh God, what's it called? The sofa
Yeah, the
speeder, land
Proteus
speeder.
ones.
We've got the
Yeah,
land speeder,
yeah,
haven't we? So it'll be like land speeders, javelins. I would
yeah,
guess jet bikes.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. I hadn't considered
Hopefully
that. Yeah.
bikes. Like
Yeah,
hopefully
but there
we
was only
get
two slots in the first strike. So I wonder,
yes,
like
yeah, yeah.
again, so it'd be interesting to see whether with like javelins and stuff, whether they are you can buy them in squadrons, or whether they
Or
are
just
just
be
like
you buy one.
single units
Yeah.
now. Yeah, so
It
that'll be interesting.
it will be very interesting to see. But again, this is kind of what we're talking about before. Until we have the Libra, we don't really know. We're kind of guessing.
Yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see because you could just take like armored support and potentially that gives you 12 predators.
yeah, yeah.
You
I don't
know,
think it will,
or
but yeah,
no, I
yeah,
don't think
yeah,
it will.
yeah,
Or armored support, and then you actually get four predators, but they just
yeah,
don't squadrons.
yeah.
Have you seen any rules for squadrons?
No,
So
nothing leave for squadrons. Yeah,
I would guess that squadrons is no longer a thing and vehicles operate on their own.
yeah. That seems to make sense to me.
Which I don't hate. I feel like the whole squadron thing kind of it always seemed daft that you blow up one tank
Yeah,
and then all the wounds spill over, so you could end up blowing up like an entire squadron in the one now.
Yeah, and like stuff like, because often we would use like true line of sight in the game, and
Yeah,
but the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
squadrons ignored basically any tanks
yeah.
that were in the way. So it
And
was just,
then,
I think, a little bit clunky.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah. But
I
we
think,
shall see. We could be
yeah,
wrong.
yeah, but there are additional detachments as well, along with the Apex and the
Oh,
auxiliaries.
fuck yeah, we didn't talk about these. Yeah, so you can take a warlord detachment, but you have to have 3,000 points or
Yeah,
above. And
yeah,
it does say 3,000 points. So if you have 2,999 points, get the fuck
no,
out of here with your warlord detachment.
yeah. So
You have
whether
to add
whether
it all up perfectly.
Yeah, so whether games, the standard game now will be 3250. I wonder
Yeah,
whether that will, in order to unlock Primarchs, I wonder
yeah.
whether that will be the case, whether standard games just go to 3250 now.
And then you have a Lord of War detachment, which
Yeah.
it states can be any faction,
Any faction. This is crazy. Like
and you can
this,
take
yeah.
up to two Lords of War.
Yeah, like so like two Fellblades. But I think
That's awesome. I love
there's
that.
25, I think there's a 25%
Right,
kind
which
of
is what
like
it's always been, isn't it?
spend on that one.
Yeah, okay.
It'll be interesting to see whether, say, like the Cerberus and the Typhon go back into like the Lord of War
Yeah.
slots, or they
I
are Lord of War. I can't remember now, but
I would
basically, it would be interesting
guess
to see.
I would guess they will stay Lord of War. That feels like a decision they made in second, because they weren't Lord of War in first edition, were they? They were just
I
heavy support,
honestly,
weren't
yeah, I
they?
think they were heavy support, but they acted as Lords of War. They couldn't be like one-shotted or whatever.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting. I
yeah,
would guess that those things will stay in the Lord of War detachment.
yeah. I'm not
But I'm
sure.
just guessing.
I'm not sure how I feel about it being any faction.
You know what? I actually really like that.
Tell me
Purely
why.
from a modeling point of view. If you
Okay.
want to do, I don't know, like, oh fuck, I really want to do a solar auxiliary, Lord of
Baneblade or
War
whatever.
tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baneblade. Because I will guess that those options will no longer be an option for legions.
Yeah.
I am taking a wild guess here. We don't
Yeah.
know. They may release legacy rules, but I feel like there's been
Yeah.
so much change in the rules
Yeah.
that this is where they put the line in the sand and they're like,
Yeah.
no.
I suppose as well, it just allows you to, because like a Lord of War's attachment here, it would allow you to be like, oh, you can take two knights, and
Yeah,
like, it
yeah,
just
yeah,
gets
yeah.
around, like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
gets around that issue. Whether
yeah.
what the problem I think will be is whether it be like, oh, I've got this Alpha Legion army, but I've taken an Iron Warriors like Fellblade because it's slightly better at shooting than the Alpha Legion are, right? So that's the bit that will
Yeah.
concern me.
But then,
But
like that, I don't hate that from a kind of storytelling fluff. Like, why would you not take the people that are good at driving
yeah, yeah,
tanks?
fair
You know
play,
what I
fair
mean?
play, fair play.
And we don't know how that looks. Like
Yeah,
we just know all it says is it can be any faction.
action. Yeah,
So you might not get your legion, whatever it is. I
mm,
imagine you probably will, because
mm.
it's just a bit weird otherwise. But yeah, I don't hate that purely from just because I'd love to do like. I mean, personally, this is purely selfish because I'd love to do a solar auxilia like Lord
Yeah,
of
yeah,
War,
fair play, fair
and
play.
now I can.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, second edition, it didn't have to be the same faction, did it?
No, it's very
The
rare that you saw people
Lord of War.
take that. You know, they were quickly accused of being utter whackers if
I
they did
mean,
that.
that's the thing as well, isn't it? The community will generally regulate itself just through,
Judgment.
yeah, yeah, just through judgment. I was going to say
Yeah,
bullying, but that sounds
yeah,
bad. But yeah, and then the last one is allied detachment,
yeah. So
and
this
then
is
you
really interesting.
can
Yeah,
have any number of allied detachments, but it's got to be from a different faction.
yeah,
Which is it's again, yeah, I like it, and I
yeah.
can't
That's
remember. It
fine, right?
was it two command choices,
Yeah, and then four slots of I think troop
troops.
slots. I think yeah,
So that's interesting. But yeah, as someone who has some Mechanicum, it'll be interesting to see if like your Forge Lord opens up like Mechanicum units or anything, because obviously
yeah,
we don't know how these work, how these Centurions interact. Obviously, second edition, if you took a Forge Lord, you could then take Thalax units. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see
yeah,
if that is still a thing. But
yeah,
if not, then you just take an allied detachment.
yeah. I
which
think I
is
think this is
fine.
yeah, I think this is fine. I mean, one of the other things is that you can have as many allied detachments as you want, but
Yeah,
surely I would have thought there will be a some kind of cap on that, be it 25% in the same rate rules of war are
right.
capped, be it at a certain points level. I
Interesting.
can't believe that you just have, you know, an
You could
unlimited
have
number of
like
allied detachments, right?
15, you could do all 18 legions.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't believe that that's gonna
Yeah.
be allowed. I would have thought they
Yeah.
would have built something in for that. So yeah, but I mean, I
Yeah.
guess if you guys think of a way to do it, then put it in the comments below. Be interesting to hear your thoughts. But there'll be some mechanism I would have thought to allow that. But we have got these red circles, haven't we?
Oh shit, yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about
So
these. Yeah.
we're going to talk about that on the next slide
Yeah.
because these are prime slots. So if you just go back one, just to talk
So
about the primes.
yeah,
Um,
so every well, not every detachment.
no,
Some
not every.
detachments will have like a I don't know how you describe it, like a pointy little circle around the
Yeah,
unit,
like a
and
chaos
that
star. Kind of looks
yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah,
essentially, yeah,
yeah,
and that makes that unit a prime unit
yeah,
within a detachment. So as you can see, with the primary detachment, you get two
yeah,
prime units. Lots of primes getting thrown around there, and essentially that unlocks bonuses to those units
yeah,
if you select those units. Obviously, you don't have to,
yeah,
but those prime slots gain you have to you pick one. So it's either Master Sergeant, Combat Veterans, Paragon of Battle, Special Assignment, and Logistical Benefit.
there seems to be no reason not to pick one as well, right? It's not like
Yeah,
it doesn't
no,
appear to
there's
cost
there's
anything.
no
It's like
negative.
it's just like you are upgrading one of your units, one of your slots, and just in order to make it better. Now we haven't written them all
Yeah.
out here, but there are two that we just wanted to bring up. So the first one is Master Sergeant. So that essentially gives the sergeant it gains +1 attack, +1 weapon skill, which is really really good, +1 leadership. So this has been one of my big fears about
Mm.
this edition, with like cool being like at 7 and leadership being 8 or whatever for on the sergeant. So having a leadership 9 master sergeant, really really cool. And then it also gains the champion subtype as well. So then it means that sergeant, if it's just a tactical squad sergeant, can then fight in challenges, because that's obviously what we saw from the article last week. So that was really really cool. And it says this advantage may only be selected once per detachment, so you can only have one master sergeant.
Oh, interesting.
But I absolutely loved this. I thought this was brilliant. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I can like, and actually what I really like about it is I think that it leans quite nicely into like modeling opportunities. He's like, yeah, sure, that's a bog
Yeah,
standard
yeah, yeah,
sergeant,
yeah,
but this is my master sergeant. Like he's at like halfway between
yeah,
like you know, he's a non-commissioned officer.
yeah.
He's half. I'm thinking of like Paddy from the Sharp, right? You know, he's often like he becomes a master sergeant, I think, master at arms or whatever. And I yeah, I think that's really cool and offers a lot for like modeling
Yeah,
opportunities or
agreed.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
Or so the one that stuck out for me was logistical benefit,
yeah,
which, and we were discussing this. We think it basically means you can kind of just pick any unit. So you
yeah,
could pick like a unit of Terminators, or you could pick a Dreadnought, and then that can be added in to that detachment.
yeah. So like if your troop, if you give your troop slot logistical benefit, what that does is it just opens up another slot within that detachment
Yeah,
that you've got. So
yeah,
that might be a good way if you're like, oh, I'm keen to take more dreadnoughts or whatever. You just go, okay, well, in this primary, you take logistical benefit on your troops, and then that will give you. It looks like, we don't want to say 100%, but it looks like it essentially just gives you a freebie, freebie dreadnought or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just one slot of any type, with the exception of kind of like high command, warlord, and command as well. Now, there are others, but I think the other thing that I just wanted to say is that I wonder whether, because this prime slot thing looks really good, and I think that it adds a lot of flavor to your army. And again, it comes back to that word granularity, doesn't it? Like these units are going to be slightly different, and more experienced perhaps, but how will the prime slots change for different legions? Like, what will the benefits and buffs be?
Yeah.
And will that be another level of flavor? Like Iron Warriors, they're better at foot slogging, and they've got like a higher cool, for example, or
Yeah.
whatever.
The
So
grumpy
um,
git prime slot.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, there's two things to draw out of that, which is that we've got the gambits now, which like there seems to be there is Legion specific gambits, and now we've got these prime slots, which are
Yeah.
I would imagine some of them are going to be Legion specific as well. So lots of
Yeah.
flavor to add, and no doubt there'll be Mechanicum Custodes, other prime slots that you can add from there.
But what I would say from what I've seen of these so far is they're not overly complicated. There's not
No,
like
no, it's
loads of
straightforward.
rules
Yeah,
and no's and negatives. It's literally logistical benefit. You can take another unit. Cool.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
not like trying to remember 1,000 rules. I'm sure it will all add up eventually, but
yeah, yeah.
from what I've seen so far, it doesn't look too bad. So the role of centurion. So as we've kind of discussed, I mean, obviously you get a detachment. Like you take a centurion, you take a command slot, you get to take an auxiliary detachment. But outside of that, we don't really know, do we?
No.
So I guess we're kind of just guessing. But I would guess, certain centurions will open up different options.
Yeah,
So maybe you can take more auxiliary detachments. You don't
yeah,
have to have, one centurion takes one auxiliary,
yeah,
however that looks.
yeah.
But also maybe they unlock other detachments. Like I say, how will the Forge Lord work? Will that open
Yeah,
up a
yeah,
detachment that is like
yeah,
the Mechanicum detachment or the Thalax detachment?
yeah.
We have
If
no
you
idea.
have a Primus Medicae and you've got a Forge Lord, you can have one War Machine detachment for free, right? Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
combining those things would be pretty flavorful and pretty cool. I mean, one of my things, there's kind of two things about this Centurion in particular. Number one is that he's in the box and it just keeps on coming up again. He's a centurion. He's a centurion. He's a centurion. Like that word is being used over and over again. And I
Yeah.
think that nobody really ever took just a basic centurion in 1.0 or 2.0.
No.
We even had like a centurion with honors model that was like
Yeah.
a limited run, and nobody really took it because the other types of consoles offered such useful things and benefits that actually always made sense to kind of go, I'm always going to add 15 points onto a centurion and make him a
Yeah,
champion.
yeah, yeah.
What I think is big about this one is that he's just a bog standard centurion. So it suggests to me that he's going to come with his own rules. I think it's interesting he's got a modeled Vexilla. And I wonder whether that will add additional buffs as well. So I think this is going to play, this Centurion for me is going to play more of a prominent role either in list building or just on the tabletop or both.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll wait and see, and whether or not today we'll get to see in the article how he will specifically impact things. So
Yeah.
yeah, stock up on those characters is my like linking back to how to prepare. I think that if you want to start creating characters and making characters, I think that and kit bashing characters with stuff, I think that's probably a
I
good
mean,
idea.
what I think we may see as well is, yeah, like you're saying, like just cheap
Yeah,
centurions.
yeah,
Like, actually, this guy is purely unlocking that detachment. I'm
yeah,
only taking him to unlock that detachment.
yeah,
So
yeah. Or
I'm
maybe
going to give him
to
buckle
stand.
equipment.
Yeah, literally
I'll
that.
stick
Yeah,
him in attack squad,
yeah,
and he's just, a
yeah,
50, 60, 70 point
yeah.
tax just to open up this detachment here, which
Yeah,
I don't hate. Like, not
no,
everyone has
no.
to be a dick swinging hero.
Honestly, though, I think that it's the cool is going to be the issue. I think with three tests that are reliant on that cool number, I think that you're probably going to want a character
Yeah,
in
yeah,
your
maybe. Yeah.
especially your prime
But you
slots.
can take
You know,
4 centurions just in one
yeah,
slot.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I don't think you will want to spend, 150 points on each one.
No,
That's the
no,
thing, you
no.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
You might
yeah, yeah,
but again, we don't know how that'll look. And I'm guessing we will have, Legion specific centurions.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we
Of
don't know
course, yeah.
how that
That's a
will
really good
look.
point. I hadn't even considered that actually. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head what
Like,
we
will an
had.
Iron Warriors one like unlock the armored spearhead or whatever? I don't know, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Armored
yeah.
breakthrough.
But yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, nice one.
What up next? Okay, so this is just a few things that
Yeah, so we were not going to go through every single rule because, like, you guys can read them and you can find the links. In fact, we don't we're not even posting the links. That is, you've got to go
no.
find them yourself. I don't even know how Reddit works, but just a few pointers that I think we've picked up on from kind of this morning. So maybe we'll take them one at a time. So rerolls, we had rules for shred, we had rules for hatred in there. No rerolls of any kind. Like those rules have changed now, and I wonder whether rerolls have just gone entirely from the game. So what happens with twin linked? Like if it's double barrel, does it just have more shots now, or is twin linked just gone, disappeared? So
Yeah.
rerolls will be in whether what will happen with that?
I personally am a big fan if rerolls have gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just think it tends to slow the game down a little
yeah,
bit, and from what we've seen, there's a lot of rules that have been added, especially in the kind of
yeah,
close combat.
yeah,
But it never really made a huge amount of sense to me. Like you've got more barrels, so you're more accurate. Like
yeah, yeah.
surely you've got more barrels, so you
You
shoot
got more.
more. Like
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
So I don't hate that, but if they're still here, they're still here. But yeah, I wouldn't hate if they've gone.
yeah. Yeah. Do you want to take us through the next one?
So deep striking only one unit.
Yeah,
So I've only
a
quickly
turn.
glanced at this, but the deep strike rule for, is it vehicles or was it just deep strike? I
Just deep
think it's
strike.
for, is
Just
it?
deep strike. Yeah, just
Just
deep strike.
talks about a single unit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't actually read this, so I don't.
I think it says within it, if it's a transport, you can't assault out of it. So I think
Okay, oh, really?
the Charybdis, I think, is like, I don't know how useful that will be in reality now. Like, it'll be interesting to
Right.
see that.
But then we don't know if the Cryptus doesn't have a rule written in it that says you
Exactly.
can deep strike out of this model.
Yeah.
So
It
don't go
ignores,
throwing
yeah.
your Cryptus away,
Yeah,
way
drop
just
kick it
yet.
over the fence. Yeah, yeah,
Fuck
yeah.
it. Yeah.
I think
Just like someone lives on like the 20th floor of their block of flats and they just fuck it out
premise
the
of the
window.
brain. Yeah, I suppose I can just see now Blood Angels players being really alarmed by this,
Yeah.
and and in many ways rightly so, because the not knowing is always the killer. That's the problem
Yeah.
with this, isn't it? But you know, I can't believe that they wouldn't have put a mechanism in place where you can deep strike more than one unit if you're a Blood Angels player. Like that's their
Yeah. It
whole style of
seems.
warfare. And then
Yeah.
the other one is that like we're about to have an ISFAN 5 drop site massacre
Yeah.
book. Like the whole point is about drop assault. So
I
whether we will see some additional rules within that campaign book, I would have thought
I
that would
think
unlock.
so.
Yeah. So
I think so. Otherwise, you know, second edition was going to 4 turns, really, wasn't it? That's the
yeah,
way they
yeah,
were moving,
yeah,
4 turns. So I'd imagine this would be the same. It's going to be
yeah,
about 4 or 5 turns.
yeah.
And if you're only allowed to deep strike one unit per
You've only
turn,
got 3 units in a game, haven't
that's
you?
it.
Yeah,
So I just can't see that being a thing. I
yeah,
think people need to wait until they see
yeah.
the Liber. Drop pod assault wasn't written in the second edition rules book. It was in the
No,
Liber rules
yeah, that's
book.
true. Yeah, yeah, that's
So
a good point.
I think don't lose your minds yet on that one.
Yeah,
So how will characters and unique characters change these force org slots?
yeah. So this
This
is
is
really
one thing.
interesting.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
this is where you can really get some flavor into your legions, like an Iron Warrior's Centurion unlocks like artillery or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
however that looks.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's one
It's
thing.
it's difficult, isn't it? Because people might be like, "Oh, I'm going to go start kind of like creating a list right now." Yeah, not knowing points values, but kind
Yeah,
of going, "Well, what have I got, and how would it fit into this?" But I think the problem is that I suspect either there will be slightly different or adjusted auxiliary detachments or apex detachments or force orgs for each legion, but also how will consoles and characters, particularly special characters, change those things? Like, you know, will it be that if you take Erasmus Golg now, your Terminators, like heavy, your Terminators now go into your troop slots or whatever? So
yeah.
it's going to be, it'll be interesting, but yeah, lots of unknowns I think about this.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then reaction allotment. So reactions are still in. I think reactions is based off how many you get is off the
Points.
points you're playing.
Yeah, that's right. So if it's 1,500 points or less, you only get one per turn. One per turn. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
One per turn. Whether warlord traits will add to that will be
Yeah.
interesting to see because
I
that's they
hope
obviously
not.
did
I
that.
hope not. I mean, one per turn, two per turns. So
Yeah,
is that's turn, not phase?
turn. It's turn. It
Yeah.
says
Okay.
specifically
Yeah.
turn. Yeah,
I think that just makes it a bit more impactful.
yeah,
I mean, we don't know how that'll look. Like, obviously, in second edition, if you had augury scanners, you got free.
yeah. That's a good point. That's a
I
good point.
kind of hope that doesn't isn't still a thing
Yeah,
because I prefer. I feel like it should be impactful. You should
yeah.
like. I'm waiting to use.
These are
I'm
important
waiting for the
moments in the
charge to
game.
use this
Yeah,
reaction. Like,
yeah,
oh, but I could really do with killing that
yeah,
thing in the shooting phase.
yeah.
But I really want to like you actually, you've got a bit of like in-game management, and you actually rather than just be like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it because I'm not going to use it on anything. Like I've had games in second edition where it's like I'm just going to do this reaction because I'm not
Because I've
going to
got
use
it.
it for anything else.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it just becomes a thing, doesn't it?
I
It's like,
might as
wow,
well.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I might as well shoot at them. Yeah, yeah,
Rather than actually having to think about it and
yeah,
thinking when you can best use those reactions in
yeah.
your turn.
So you get
So
so basically you kind of get one per turn as a base, and then
right,
the amount of points that you have in your army determines how many additional you get. So
okay,
with big army,
right,
like big games of like 5,000 points or whatever, I think it said you then get an additional two or something like that.
right.
So yeah, the size of the games will determine. It's interesting that they've specifically said like 5,000 points, and then it would be like three or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, an acknowledgement that games can go be small, and
yeah,
an
yeah,
acknowledgement that
yeah.
games can be massive as well. So. Yeah.
And then flyers assigned combat assignments, and I actually really like this. Again, I've
Totally
only
different. Totally
yeah.
different.
So
Yeah.
you basically choose how it comes on, and then it does a thing. So I think I read like there's a drop deep, like a deep strike one where it just kind of
Yeah.
drops in from orbit,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
does its thing, and then disappears.
Yeah.
Or there's like a strafing run, or there's an
Yeah.
extraction one where it can come in and pick up a unit and then fuck off.
This is, yeah, I really, really like this. And the fluff that they gave around it was just like these vehicles are moving at such high speeds that it's actually, but I mean, they didn't say this, but what they mean is that it's actually quite difficult to simulate this in a
Yeah.
turn-based game. So we've assigned combat assignments to demonstrate the speed at which this aerial combats and kind of aerial warfare takes place, which I think
Mm.
is actually quite cool, quite flavorful. I assume, I think somebody mentioned that's quite similar to Legions Imperialis, like that's how flyers work. They kind of
Okay.
have
Yeah,
assignments
yeah.
and they
They
kind of do
kind
their
of
thing, and
come on
then
and then disappear. Yeah.
yeah, so quite cool.
But totally different. Well, I mean, anything's different to how they were in second edition because you
Yeah,
just didn't see them. Like
unused.
they
Yeah,
just didn't exist, did
yeah,
they? So anything that makes flyers usable,
yeah,
like, is a tick in my box.
yeah,
And then tanks. So glancing hits cause tactical statuses,
yeah,
which they did an article on the Warhammer community. So it's like
yeah.
pinned,
Suppressed or whatever.
suppressed,
Yeah.
yeah, and then they have negative effects.
And you roll on a table for that, so it is randomized. If you get glancing
Yeah,
hits, it is randomized. Yeah.
but glancing hits don't take a whole point damage.
No,
So you can
no.
glance a tank and it won't do any damage.
Yeah,
You have to pen a tank now to cause a whole point damage.
yeah,
The flip side of that is we now have damage on weapons.
yeah,
So you lose the whole points to the amount of damage. So
yeah.
they've kind of made it a bit more survivable and
Yeah,
then
and
potentially
yeah.
taking
If
it away.
weapons are stronger, then it's kind of
But
like,
there's
well, they're
no
not.
there's no rolling on the damage tables. There's no like
No,
losing weapons.
no.
There's no destroy. I think wrecked is still a thing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but there's no like. And then I think tanks will have explode within
yeah.
the
So it
rules,
can
so they might go
explode
bang.
on a dice roll. Yeah, yeah,
But again, I quite like that. You're getting rid of quite a lot of the admin of trying.
yeah,
How many times have you like lost a last cannon off a land raider turn one,
yeah,
and then at turn five you've remembered that you lost that last cannon because you've been using it for the last four turns.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, so it's annoying because like we're handing out tokens that have all the damage tables on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't hate this. And then you can do a repair test each turn, I think, and then that can get rid of one of the tactical statuses.
Yeah.
And I think it also said something you can do battlesmith, and then that can get rid of the tactical statuses too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So just this is, I think, important here. So I think I would imagine the repair test is going to be on a 6-up at the end of the phase. And if you can't pass that repair test, then it will just stay stunned or pinned or whatever. But it seems to be that if you've got a tech marine or something with battlesmith, it will add to that. You can fix it on that. So, and this brings me back to my point about the auxiliary slots, which is that if you're finding that your tanks are getting tactical status fairly frequently, and you don't have the ability to repair that with a number of tech marines in floating around your force, you're going to need to add them in along with like things like apothecaries. We'll come to apothecaries in a bit, and this is what I mean about actually. Just on a quick glance, I actually think you're going to need to have more command centurions or consoles than you might think you might need at this moment in time, because you kind of like, oh well, actually, like I'm going to need to take a number of tech marines here. I don't usually play with tech marines, that's not my style, but actually if I'm taking tanks, tech marines seem like almost like an auto include in this scenario. And then like, where do you put your tech marines? Are they going to be standing behind a tank all the time? Like, they're going to need to be within range to be able to fix things. Like I think I made a video the other day about kind of like hero hammer. It might not be that extreme, and perhaps it isn't that extreme, but I do think that just from just from even us doing that there and being like, oh, if I want this and this, I'm actually going to need to unlock. I'm going to have 2 consoles just for a Terminator squad and a Spartan, and then and now I need to take one for my snipers and one for my my dreadnought. You've got 4. You've got 4 there, 4 there alone. So I think that tech marines we're going to see more of those, which suggests to me we're going to get a plastic kit of some kind with tech marines.
They'll probably look something like the rapier dudes. I would guess.
I would have thought so.
And then Feel No Pain is in, but doesn't seem to be restricted by weapon strength.
Yeah, so instant death is gone. But we obviously have Eternal Warrior or X, but nowhere could I see that Feel No Pain was restricted by weapon strength.
Interesting. So see, instant death is gone, but it kind of hasn't. It's just been moved to damage now, hasn't it?
Yeah,
so
that's
you can still instant death things. It just depends.
And the Feel No Pain is locked into a one roll, so it's not like you would roll for each point of damage you create. It's like one armor save and then followed by one Feel No Pain, and then if you fail that, then you take the damage. Yeah. So it was really interesting to see that. And again, I think the knock-on effect is for stuff like Iron Hands and stuff. So like, for me, one of the really taxing things about facing Iron Hands and multi-wound Iron Hands was that like you couldn't double them out with Melter. Like, sure, you can't double anything out with Melter, it seems, but there's going to be a hell of a lot of damage that is going to occur. And actually, can they make that Feel No Pain? Otherwise, they're gone. So it might just be reducing the strength, but actually, if you reduce the strength, but you're still doing 3 damage or 6 damage, actually, it's not so much of an issue to actually reduce the strength of a weapon. So
Interesting. Cool. That's it. That's all we've got. I think
there's obviously a lot more, isn't there? I mean, there's within those 30-something pages, there's a hell of a lot more to talk about.
There's so many. I mean, this isn't just like a new edition. This is a new edition.
Yeah.
Like this is almost a new game. It still feels like Heresy from what I've read so far.
Mate,
I don't feel like fucking hell. I'm basically playing, I don't know, another war game. Like
can we just go back to the force organization chart just quickly, just because I just want to give my kind of closing thoughts on this. I mean, this episode was meant to be like how to prepare for the new edition, and I think our advice is basically wait. Like, and I understand that people are probably quite keen to do some hobby and start making stuff, but I just think that we have seen we've got one piece of the jigsaw puzzle right now,
Yeah.
and I think that it would be foolhardy to go and crack on and do something, and for us to give you advice and be like, oh, start making these things when actually like
Yeah.
it's so this game is so radically different from what we're used to for 2.0 and 1.0, that I think that to rush into kind of purchases and things like that would be
Yeah, I agree. I
tricky.
think if you want to really desperately do stuff, do something generic.
Yeah,
Like I'm currently building some rapiers, because we know rapiers are coming. Like I'm doing some quad launchers. I've got the old Imperial. I can't remember what they were called. Like the old Imperial quad launcher thud guns, I think they were
yeah, thud
called,
guns. Yeah.
which I've had sitting in my fucking box of doom for about 10 years, because I know like they aren't going to drastically, it's going to be like I would hold off from doing, I don't know, like we don't know what the weapons are going to look like. We don't know
No.
what weapon options are going to look
No,
like. We
I
don't
would
know.
really, really like my biggest suggestion to you guys, actually, particularly around making centurions, is don't start attaching weapons to things that we're like
Yeah.
not sure about right this moment. Like,
And
don't just go give your centurions thunderhammers, for example, because they're good now. Like, I would like. Honestly, I know that some of you are keen, but magnetize them if you really are going to do
yeah,
that. But like, I'm worried
like,
that the number of options on things are going to be reduced in
yeah,
accordance with like the
what's
boxes that we
available.
currently have.
Yeah,
Like, so
yeah.
like a good example, I don't
So
know.
what I was
Like,
going to say is I
sorry,
really
go for
want
it.
to start doing some Terminators,
Yeah,
but I don't know because the box set for Terminators doesn't include Vexillas, it
yeah,
doesn't include augury scanners, it doesn't
yeah.
include Voxcasters. So
Nuncios,
are
yeah,
they going to be
yeah,
options in
yeah,
third edition? I would guess probably not.
yeah,
So actually, I don't want to start building Terminators and sticking all this stuff on
yeah,
because I don't know how that's going to look. So
yeah,
I'm going to hold off from doing Terminators now. So that's why I'm like, well, I've had these rapiers, even if they're, and this is the one good thing, like quad launchers in third edition could be fucking amazing.
mm,
They could be terrible. I
mm,
don't know, but I like the look of the models
yeah,
that I've got. And I want to run them. It
yeah,
fits with the theme of
yeah.
Iron Warriors, like having
So you're
artillery.
just gonna you take them no matter
So
what, whether they're good, bad,
that's
doesn't
it.
matter.
Yeah.
You would take them. Yeah,
Because if they're shit, then you just take something that is the new
yeah,
hotness. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like
Within
there's
the army to
like
balance it
this
out. Yeah,
isn't 40k. Like people
yeah,
will be losing their minds because oh this tank is now shit. It doesn't fucking matter.
mm.
Just take something. Take
Take a better thing in the army
Saturn
now.
9
Yeah,
Terminators
yeah,
when they come out because they're
yeah,
probably going to be quite good.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, we don't know. They could be
yeah,
shit. But I would stay away from doing like specific things. I would,
yeah,
if you have always wanted to run Vindicators, then do that because
yeah,
I don't think they're going to change that much,
no,
and maybe don't go sticking on additional weapon check because we don't know how that'll look.
yeah,
But it all comes in the box,
yeah.
so
So
they're probably going to
it
be
probably is.
options.
Yeah, probably good to go. Yeah, the
That would
yeah,
be my advice. I would
yeah,
say start building stuff if you really like some people might just have no like oh, I'm fucking not interested until
mm,
the new edition's out. I don't care,
mm,
and that's absolutely fine. But if you're like absolutely frothing to get going, then I would say be careful because that what's the RAM thing we used to have the I can't
oh,
think what
the
it's called.
Astasis assault ram.
Yeah, like that will probably not exist in third edition. We don't know. They might do a legacy PDF, but this feels like the edition where they're just gonna be no longer. We don't know.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
would probably hold off building and painting something that might not make it into third edition and concentrate on rhinos. Like there's always going to be fucking rhinos, aren't there? Like we're never not going to have rhinos. So maybe now is a good time to start building that fleet of rhinos. But yeah, I would say just caution
yeah.
would be
I
my advice.
just to finish off as well, not to sound like a total shill, but I'm like seeing the changes today and seeing the leaks. they look quite exciting. I think the
Yeah.
most exciting bit for me is actually this new force organization chart, and then whatever the offshoots and evolution of that for different legions and different armies, and partly because actually the list building process is, I find, one of the most enjoyable parts of the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The challenge that goes with it, and just after 3 years of writing lists in one way, I think it's going to be really exciting to start creating lists in a different way. And I think that is just an intellectually stimulating challenge.
100%.
But what I really like about this in particular, and because it's on its side and because of the leaked images it's on its side, you don't quite get the scenario. But and you might remember this, Lee, in the very first black book that we had, which Alan Bly wrote, we had a kind of we had a 2-page spread of what a legion
Oh,
would look
yeah,
like.
we did. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at the top of it, you had like the Primarch, and then you had like the Praetors, and then from there, it almost looked like the way a Roman legionary, of course, because that's what
Yeah.
it's designed from, was linked together. So you then had the most senior captains, then followed that, but that's exactly it, right? Then you had the captains from there, and then you had the kind of like the auxiliary supports and things like that,
Yeah.
right?
If
So
anyone's
that
looking
thing
at the
there.
camera, that's it. That's
So what for me, this represents is that diagram right there, which is that you've got your high command, which is the bit right at the top. Then you've got your centurion, and like he unlocks this particular thing. This primus medicae, it unlocks these particular things in a better way than just like a normal centurion because of X, Y, and Z. And I think that like the force org to me is kind of like this top down kind of like diagram, just kind of, if you flip it on its side, I think it's much more like how it should be. But they've clearly flipped it over because of the way that the way that they need to make it clear. But I think for that, it really goes to that. I
I
really really love that.
I totally agree. Like I have had so many times in first and second edition where I'm like more so second edition. I think second edition was probably the most restrictive for list writing we've had. Where I'd come up with an idea, I'm like, oh fuck, that's an amazing idea. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at it, you're like, well, this right of war doesn't let me do it because I
Yeah.
can't take this.
Yeah.
And this right of war doesn't let me do it because I
Yeah.
can't take this.
Yeah.
And this right of war. And then you're like, I actually physically can't make the army I want to
that I
make
want to make. Yeah.
because it won't let me. Whereas now, like if I want to just run all Terminators,
Yeah.
I take 2 command options from here,
Yeah.
3 command options,
Yeah.
and then I take all my Terminator options,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
And there doesn't appear to be any restrictions or
no,
anything like that. It's
yeah,
just like you can, if you want to. And I think because of that, it will be interesting to see if a meta develops, because it doesn't. If meta develops, it will be around the Legion units, because this is so now open. It will be around the Legion units. So the test will be when we get the levers. Have the levers been play tested well enough, and are the points correct enough to be able to balance all those kind of
yeah,
like it. So for example, in the last edition, a great example is Thunderhammers were really well costed
yeah,
for what they do, considering
yeah,
a brutal 2, so it's just such the obvious choice. Now, with weapon options, actually you've got a real decision about, do I want to go at -3 initiative, or do I want to go at -1
yeah,
initiative but have like less strength and less damage or whatever. So
yeah.
I've got to say, I'm really optimistic about this. Like it looks really really good. If you think that I'm foolish for that, then that's like that's absolutely fine. I'm actually buzzing for a new intellectual
Yeah.
challenge after 3 years of kind of playing the same game kind of a lot. As much as I enjoyed 2.0, it's good to refresh it and have a new challenge.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like, if you don't like this, then that's fine. You don't have to like it. Like, no
Yeah.
one's like, we've had quite a few comments of like, basically like, "Fuck you
Oh
guys,
God.
this isn't Horus Heresy."
Yeah,
But it's
nuts. Yeah,
like,
crazy.
it's just, it's a different game. Like,
Yeah.
I've played Heresy for what, 10 years now.
Yeah, we were there from the beginning, man. We
you
got
know,
stripes. Yeah.
It's like, I am more than happy to see this change because, as long as it's done well, then that's good. Like,
Yeah.
I get people don't want it to. I would say, like, this is a massive change. In 3 years' time, I don't want another completely brand new game. It would be quite nice
Yeah.
if they just fix any problems that will
stuck with
invariably
it.
come up in
Yeah.
this edition. Like that is
Yeah.
the one thing I will agree with what a lot of
That's
people have been saying.
yeah, and I think that's yeah, we're slightly diverging, but I completely agree with you on that one. You get the sense from 2.0 that it always felt to me like a bit of a rushed edition
Yeah.
because it happened in COVID and it wasn't quite play tested well enough. That is not to put down the play testers. It's just like I'd imagine
No, 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 no.
circumstances kind of
Yeah.
hampered them from
Yeah.
doing the job that they wanted to do. And then I think they probably made a decision about 18 months into that edition and were like, this isn't quite where we wanted it to be. We would like to do another overhaul of the rules. And then they had to make a decision about whether or not they should do an overhaul on the FAQ, and should they spend the time doing a completely new FAQ to sort out 2.0, or whether they should spend their time and resources in actually just dedicating to a new edition. We've all been there where we've had like targets of work, and it's pulled us in directions, and we can't quite do
Yeah.
what we want to do. And I suspect that's just partly it. Like not enough people to work on these kind of projects. I imagine the Horus Heresy
Yeah.
team is. I'm not being apologetic for them, but
No.
I just kind of, I suppose, just trying to put myself into their shoes and why they ultimately didn't do a FAQ. Because I think one of the big criticisms has been, well, it's 2.0 has been massively unsupported in terms of like points adjustments, things like that. And they're kind of like, yeah, I get it. But exactly as you say, hopefully we can have this edition for longer, and that
Yeah.
any stuff that comes up, it can be fact quickly and effectively. And that when you send your email to the fact team, you know that it's just not going straight into the bin.
Shredder, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Can I just say one last thing?
Yeah, of
Look at this
course.
model. That's fucking
Mate,
awesome,
it's
isn't it?
awesome. It's so good in Iron and
love
Warriors
that.
colours as well.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I really do.
The
That's
head is
so
so
cool.
hot. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's it. Yeah. Let us know your thoughts and feelings. If you've read the leaks, then, are you fucking burning your army and throwing drop pods from the highest building, or are you excited, or are you going to wait to see the Liber, or have you not read them at all and we've just totally ruined it for you? But we did warn you at the beginning. Let us know your thoughts and feelings. Try and be kind. Like, just because we like it, we understand people will fucking hate this and they'll
Yeah.
just want to keep playing second edition. But then I will say, a lot of people said that when second edition came out.
Didn't see
And
anybody play first edition.
No, I don't know anyone playing first edition. I know quite a few people who just stopped playing it, and that's fair enough. Like, if it's not for you, it's not for you. But some people will like it, some people won't. If you don't like it, it's a shame. Like, I do genuinely feel sorry for you. But I'm positive for this.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty pumped
I
for
think
this.
it looks good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts and feelings, guys. But until then, go check out Bling. For 3D printing, they do all sorts. Mostly tends to be Adeptus Titanicus, Legions Imperialis, but they do a load of 28mm stuff as well. Check them out, battleblingstore.co.uk, or on Instagram at battleblingstore, and Facebook battlebling. If you use the code HERESYHAMMER, all capitals, at checkout, you get 10% off. Bitsmonsters, www.bitsmonsters.com, at Bitsmonster on Instagram, and bits.monster on Facebook. Free UK shipping over £25. And again, if you use Heresy Hammer code at checkout, you get 10% off all Heresy items. And then finally, I believe, Gator 3D printing. Dan, go check him out. He's does some fucking awesome 3D printing. Checking them out at gator.3d on Instagram, Gator 3D printing on Facebook, but he's also very active on our WhatsApp 3D printing group. If you want access to our WhatsApp group, go look at our link tree, is it? I don't know the names of all this shit on our Instagram. Like,
Lee just lets me and Kerry sort that kind of nonsense out. The logistical stuff is just not interesting.
I'm 44, mate. You know what I mean? Shout out to all our Patreon Praetor tier members. We haven't mentioned it, but we obviously have a Patreon. Because, I mean, do you even YouTube if you don't have a Patreon? So go check that out if you would like to. We have extra Tacticas. We're currently running a campaign as a final hurrah for second edition on there. But these are our top tier Praetor level members, so a massive thank you to them. All these YouTubers
It's
say
nice to see
this.
like we've got nice normal names like Brian Scott and Peter
Yeah,
Walker, and then we've got Goblin
yeah.
Sex Worker as well. So
Goblin sex worker.
that's nice, isn't it? That's
Which is either a joke or a real niche in the sex worker community. That's a real fucking niche. I hope you charge a lot of money.
and you can see why we don't get endorsement from GW, don't you?
But shout out to these guys. Like we genuinely couldn't do what we do without you guys,
Yeah,
all
thanks,
the
guys.
patrons. But a special super duper thanks to these
Goblin Sex
guys,
Worker, yeah.
and a special shout out to Goblin Sex Worker. You know who you are. Oh God.
Oh, just to say, just to go back one. We've got SM Battle Reports who are one of our sponsors at our Praetor tier as well. So if you don't watch those guys and aren't watching those guys, I know they are linked really closely to GW. So they will have a lot of they will be able to get a head start on a lot of the content, a lot of bat reps in particular, like in terms of like list building ideas and stuff like that. I think that if you're not signed up, then consider it over the next kind of like few weeks, because I'm sure they'll be producing content. And I suspect with these leaks coming now, the GW might just give them the green flag to kind of go, okay, guys, like it's out there in the wild. You might as well go for it. I hope, hopefully. So like, and if you aren't signed up, they do for like £4 a month. You can get extra like heresy content from there as well. So just worth a shout.
I mean, I've said it once already, but I do feel sorry for the GW team.
Yeah,
Like they have been. I mean, we can't not talk about it because it's out there. It's on the internet. It would be weird to not talk about it as heresy enthusiasts. Like we're
Yeah, it would be odd.
super
It'd be a little
fucking
bit odd.
excited.
Yeah.
Like it would be a bit weird, but I do feel sorry for them, and I know we are part of the problem, not
Not the solution.
not the solution.
Yeah, amen.
But you know, here we are. If you want to check out us on the socials, we are Instagram heresy at Heresy Hammer Show. We are still doing the hashtag Heresy Hammer, although Instagram make it harder and harder to do. Fucking Instagram. Like, subscribe, comment, share if you've made it this far. If you want to just send us hate mail, then heresyhammer30k@gmail.com. And then we are Heresy Hammer on Patreon, like we've already said. We have 3 different tiers. So go check us out on there. And we are putting stuff on podcasts, so all your favorite podcasting sources. And then we have the WhatsApp community that I've already mentioned. There's like 10 billion members on there. Like every time I look at it, it's like 400 messages.
I had a meeting over the past 2 days with
Oh,
our
yes.
new admins, and we've got 10 new admins because the group is getting so large now that we
We
actually
just
need to.
can't keep on top of it.
Yeah, so we need to get some admins. So we'll be kind of releasing news and stuff about that later.
They will be cracking down.
On Goblin Sex Worker and his antics.
Conform into the rules. Otherwise, you'll be snatched in the middle of the night. And check out access to that is on our Instagram link tree. But that's it for now. Thank you very much. Like I've said already, let us know your thoughts and feelings. Are you scared, nervous, worried, excited, happy, sad? Dousing petrol on your heresy armor as we talk. Please don't do that. But yeah, cool. Let us know your thoughts and feelings. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cool.